Hi everyone, and thanks very much for watching our video today. I hope you find it valuable. If you like what you see, please click the thumbs up. If you don't like what you see, click the thumbs down. And as always, if we added something of value to your day, please subscribe to our channel. It will encourage us to make more and more content like this. So what are we talking about today? We're going to talk a little bit more about online businesses and making money. So how do we make money online? What are the ways to do it? And what are perhaps the kind of philosophies that I have and the approaches that I take to actually get the best results? So we primarily use Woocommerce for our stores. It doesn't really matter if you're using that or Shopify or another platform that actually works and you like and is useful to you. It is really important that you use something that it works for you, gives you a good flow and you're happy with, okay? Really critical. But software aside, what are we looking at here? Well, you know what? One of the biggest things I see online, on YouTube, on Facebook, is about how to make lots of money from an online business, how to 10 times your income, how to make $1 million, how to make $5 million, how to make $10 million, all this kind of stuff. And often it's from people who are peddling their wares. Often it's from people who have actually been successful with one or multiple stores online. They've made lots of money, they've been really successful. Or maybe they made lots of money and realized that they could make more money by selling courses online. So there's heaps of that kind of stuff, right? But you know what? I think if you are starting an online business for the very first time, that you should be thinking about how do you make something great, which is of value to your customers. If you're not doing that, it's going to be the very rare case, I think, that you're going to be successful with it. And the reason is that if your goal is to be rich, then that in itself is, I think, a bit of a challenging proposition. Whereas if you think about how can I create something of value? How can I create something that customers want? How can I build a business that is of value and provides a great service or product to customers? I think that is going to serve you better, that mindset, than just, I want to make $1 million or I want to, retire off my e-commerce store. That is more a consequence of doing successful things that work really well rather than just saying, hey, I want to be a millionaire, and then it happens, right? So being a millionaire maybe isn't such a big deal these days for some people, but it is for others. And especially if you're branching out on your own, maybe you have been working for someone for a long time, maybe because of COVID you got made redundant or whatever other reason or whatever circumstances have happened in your life that's brought you to this point in time, you're probably starting to feel a little liberated and that you can achieve what you want. And I think that that's a fantastic mindset because you've got to stay positive with e-commerce. I'm not going to say necessarily time, but it takes a lot of effort, thought, and consideration to get it right. Okay, so it's not going to be for everyone. And so that's why I say if it's just about making yourself rich, then probably you need to go and buy a lotto ticket, is what I would suggest. So I want to talk about a couple of different ways which you can start online businesses. When I got involved in online businesses, we didn't really talk about e-commerce, we talked about online marketing. So I hope that I can sort of bring some fundamental marketing ideas to you and help you to get some ideas about how you can start this journey or improve where you are. So there's obviously a million different ways that you can make money online. I don't subscribe to any of the get-rich-quick schemes. I think that personally I'm more focused and interested on creating an online brand in a niche marketplace. I think that's the most effective way. I honestly think that that's the most effective way to achieve this, but there are plenty of other people out there who are much better at Facebook ads and optimizing strategies online that way with Shopify. Not my speciality, so I'm not going to cover it today. I'll need, if I do make a future video about that, then I will, don't quote me what I say in this video, most definitely, but I'll be definitely have to get some expert advice or spend a considerable amount of time looking into it myself. So the first thing I wanted to talk about today is the concept of drop shipping. So if you've started looking at an online business, you probably heard a lot about drop shipping. It's really a buzzword. Some people kind of associate it with negative connotations like Bitcoin. It's this voodoo thing that is a get rich quick scheme, and it's not going to work and everyone's going to fail, and it's only a few people ever are successful from it. I think that you make your own success, and I think that drop shipping is nothing special. It's actually quite old business model. It's only more recently that there's been buzzwords and hype about it that there wasn't before. Now, our own business has historically been involved a lot in drop shipping, and drop shipping is not some magic thing, really. It's literally just at its fundamental core where you don't hold any stock, and when a customer orders something, it gets shipped directly from the supplier, your supplier, to the customer. Now, there's lots of different ways that you can do that, obviously, but that's the fundamentals of it, and we've done it before, but when we did it last, it wasn't called drop shipping. So big IT companies especially use this method. They have products sent out directly to their customers from the distributor's warehouse. It's a very, very common approach. But now it's become more sophisticated. There's more tools available. There's more things that you can buy. There's platforms like AliExpress and lots of other ones, Amazon and so on, where you can sell and buy products to then drop ship off to other people. It's a really big space. It's a really fast growing space. Now, I suppose taking perhaps more of a classical business model approach or viewpoint on this, what's really good about dropshipping, I would say, is that you don't have to buy stock, so you don't take on that risk. And what's really important about that is if you had a really good idea that you thought buying 100 of a certain product was really great, and I'm talking about starting a store, I'm not talking about an established store. You thought, hey, I think this will sell really well, and you import from, say, China, a shipping container of 100 tables or something like that. Well, then it's your responsibility to sell all of those. And if you don't sell some of them, then they become excess stock. You've got to dump them or get rid of them somehow. It's a cost, expense, and a drain to you. Whereas with drop shipping, you only order what you need, and anything that you order is directly related to the customers. So if the customer orders 2 of something, you buy 2 of them. That's your cost. Now, obviously, if you're more established, you're going to want to have a more sophisticated strategy, and maybe you do buy in bulk from the supplier and have it shipped to you and then process the order that way. But for a business starting out, it's so fantastic. You could literally offer 100,000 different products, and then you can simply sell them, but you have no stock, which is much different from the past and how we used to do things, right? So it's a great business model. It's founded in strong business principles, I think. There's nothing extraordinary or risky about it, and it's a great business idea. It's just how you execute and plan, strategize with it, that's going to determine whether or not you're successful. Do you have a good idea? Do you execute it well? And do you learn from your mistakes? If you're not doing those things, then it's not going to work out as well. So we actually have some experience in this space. We developed our own plugin for dropshipping, which is available on woocommerce.com. You can check it out. We'll put it in the comments section below. And it makes that process much easier. It's connected to AliExpress. You can import products from there quite easily. And it's an option, and there are many options like that available, software to make your life easier in that regard. So I would suggest that you have an idea first of all. Maybe it's born out of research that you've done and that you've found online that it's something that would be popular. Maybe you have a hunch about something. Maybe you just have an idea which needs further exploring. You can try selling things online. If it doesn't work, it didn't cost you anything because you didn't have to buy anything. Okay, so it's a low risk model, but where the results come from is the effort, planning, strategy, and execution. All those kind of things are what's going to make it successful, and I'm not going to go into those in detail in this video. I would suggest checking out, there's heaps of videos online from some really clever people who have some really practical strategies. So we'll try and put some links to some quality channels in the description below as well, so you can check those out. People who have been doing this for years and are specialists. You can also check out our website, which is opmc.com.au, and we regularly put up stories there about. Now, the next area that I'd suggest that you check out is print on demand. Again, there's heaps of easy ways to get into print on demand, and providers like Printful are a great resource for this. Now, what is print on demand? Well, it's quite an interesting proposition. Basically, what you're doing is you are taking orders from people who want to buy products with customizations is the first one, or with things that you have, products that you have created and added value to. And again, it's on an on-demand basis. So you only have an expense when someone purchases it. So a really great example of this is t-shirts. Maybe you have a design that you want to put on a t-shirt which you think would be popular and sell well. Okay, so some meme which you have created online, and just be careful that you're not infringing anyone's copyright when you create these products. But let's say you created a cat meme, or you created some quote which you want to put on a t-shirt with a really awesome graphic which you have bought the rights to, or that you have created yourself, or with the help of a graphic designer. Now, you have a really great idea, you know it's going to be really popular, you sell these t-shirts on your website, so it looks as though you are the one selling it, but the product is actually shipped from a supplier like Printful, and they deliver it. So you are the sales and marketing, and they are the provider, and they do everything. You don't have to do anything, pretty much. If you spend some time on Printful, look up some YouTube videos on Printful, you'll see what I mean. It's really awesome. They have all the products, they have all the t-shirt sizes, they have mugs and whatever else you want to put logos and artwork on, and you don't have any inventory, and all you're doing is providing, as I said, the sales and marketing, but also the creative aspect too. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you outsource that to someone else, but usually there's a creative aspect. And if it's a customized product, like, you know, maybe you're putting people's names on mugs, then if someone orders from you the mug which says your name on it, let's say it's Chris, then you don't have to have stock of 20 mugs with the name Chris on it. You don't have to have stock of 20 mugs. You just order that product. When the customer orders it, it gets shipped directly to them by the supplier, say printful.com. You don't have to do anything. You have to manage the customer relationship, you have to build your brand, you have to do the sales and marketing, but in terms of the logistical aspects of it, there's really not much to do at all. And again, as a valuable idea for a business, I would really put this right up there with drop shipping. It is a drop shipping model, but it's a customization of products which makes it unique. And I don't think enough people are doing print on demand. I think that more people should be doing it with more great ideas. So if you've got an idea for print on demand business, then you should be putting it out there. And I think that that's really a big part of where these services are going, or these business models are going, is you don't have to worry about getting the product to the person or whether they received it, although you do have to worry about that, but from a customer service perspective. But the logistics, the printing, the supply of the products, the stock of the products is all handled by someone else. And so it's really you're utilizing your brain and your experience and your skills, which you learn over time, to apply to your online store to make hopefully heaps of money. So if you head over to the YouTube channel Wholesale Ted, Sarah will tell you all about this and her ideas and what she's had success with. It's really a valuable resource that she provides. I also like her because she's a fellow New Zealander, but definitely check it out. Highly recommend that channel for heaps of resources that are practical on that very topic of print on demand. So go check that out. So the third idea I want to talk about is subscription-based services. So this is an area where a lot of companies have had a unique niche idea and turned it into an online store, an online business, which is a subscriptions-based model. So for example, let's say that you want to sell pet food to people, but you want to do it on a subscription basis. So I will sign up and I will get the pet food delivered once every fortnight. It's nice and easy for me. I don't need to manage anything myself. You might ask some questions like, well, what if, for example, the customer wants to cancel or pause their subscription? Or what if they want to change the frequency of it? Well, this is stuff you can do through software available for WooCommerce websites especially. I'm sure it's the same with Shopify as well. You can create subscriptions, okay? So, but because the software is much improved over several years ago, it can handle pretty much anything you want to do. So it can handle the clients who perhaps, I don't want to get my pet food or my coffee delivered the same frequency every time, because maybe I've been on holiday, maybe I'm drinking less coffee, maybe I no longer have my pet. So, there's all sorts of changes and variables that customers have, which may make you think, well, if I had a subscription store, these would be things that were important to me. And that is perfectly fine. And as I said, the software can handle it. So it's not the case that you're restricted in that regard when you do this sort of thing, so that you can provide flexibility to customers, and that improves their loyalty and buy-in. They're going to want to buy from you more, refer you to other people, because you are providing that flexibility. Gone are the days where we sign up to things for a fixed term and you don't have any flexibility. It just doesn't work anymore, that model. So you can have a subscription-based business model, but you are actually going to have a flexibility in there that it's not rigid. Okay, and that's something that I would really be thinking about, a store owner or as a customer, is making sure that there's choice and options there for people. So software takes care of all of that stuff in most cases. So I suppose you can always check out things like the WooCommerce Subscriptions plugin, which is available on woocommerce.com. We'll put the link in the description below. And that's an established and popular product that offers subscription services. You can buy add-on products to it as well, but it does a whole bunch of stuff already out of the box. So I would recommend you check out that product as a starting point, but there's plenty of other options out there. I'm sure there's plenty of options that are cheaper or have different features that maybe work better for you. So it's definitely worth checking out sites like Code Canyon, and we'll put the link in the description below, which allows you to view many different add-ons that are available. And there's also the if you're using Shopify or you're looking to use Shopify, there's also the Shopify App Store, which we'll put the link in the description below too. So there's heaps of links to check out. And research is an important part of this. If you're willing to invest time to research and understand the products that are available, if you don't want to employ a specialist, and invest time to create an idea which you think is successful, you don't necessarily know until you test the market, then you're going to have a much better chance as far as I'm concerned. And this brings me to my next point, which is about qualifying an idea. So if you have an idea for a, say, subscription service or a print-on-demand website or a dropshipping website of the products that you can sell or the approach that you have, you might be surprised that your idea may not be unique, like heaps of other people might be doing it. But in that case, that's fantastic, because if there is a popular competitor and the market isn't flooded, then it might be a good space for you to get into. But conversely, if it might be an idea that hasn't been explored much, but maybe you take a unique approach to it that other people don't. Maybe there's something unique or special about your store, but maybe there's an idea that you've had that is quite unique that no one else is doing. And it's not that you're selling something which no one has ever sold before, but it's the way that you're doing it which may make it successful, because not many people are doing the same thing in the same way. So that's really what research is about, spending the time understanding the market So doing just general research on the products that you want to sell, what the popularity or interest is online is really important. You can join Facebook groups to see what people are talking about those products, and you can do searches online to see what sort of other websites are doing the same sort of thing. Get ideas about what you could do for your own store. One that I think is really highly valuable as a starting point is what I call Google Trends Explore. So Google Trends is a fantastic website that lets you view some data from Google about the trends of keywords and key phrases and products around the world in different countries. What are hot topics? What are breakout topics? Is something less popular than it was 5 years ago? Is there less interest in the market? Is there more interest in the market? So for example, if you have heard of Shopify before, but you're not really sure whether you've heard so much about WooCommerce, Google Trends Explore, which is where you can put in your own terms into Google Trends. If you compare WooCommerce and Shopify at the moment, Shopify dwarfs the market interest in WooCommerce by a mile. I think it's about 5 or 6 times more popular search-wise than WooCommerce. Even though WooCommerce is well known in the circles that I deal with and is a very popular platform in terms of market awareness, that kind of thing, you'll get an understanding of that when you search those terms. But what you'll also find is that there's different trends and interests in different countries. So you've got to check that out too. And sometimes there's not enough data either. And that may tell you something that you realize that you shouldn't get involved in that product, or maybe it will tell you that it should be something you get into because you're creating a market. I think that that's something really important to consider as well. While personally I find asking friends and family about your idea can often give negative results. Hey everyone, I'm going to start an online store and stop my full-time job. I find that it's valuable to get feedback from your friends, your family, your colleagues, but always take it with a grain of salt, because you just don't know if a negative comment is going to sink an idea which is actually good. So take the feedback, take it on board, but don't rely on it. I would be relying on data online, what people are saying in volume about things, to help guide you. And you may also want to reach out to some of these stores as well, some of these stores which are doing really well, and maybe they'll be far too busy to talk to you, but it's worth giving it a go. Check it out and see if those people can give you some tips and advice. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But that's why I also say check out Facebook groups, because often some more successful stores will be actively involved in Facebook groups. A really good example is the Tan brothers, Evan and Steve. And also LinkedIn as well can be a popular, useful place to find out what other professionals are saying about e-commerce, and you may find what you're looking for, you may not. Right, so now that we've talked a little bit about that stuff, the next thing is about attracting customers. How do we attract customers? We've got this idea, we've set up this basic store, we've got some products in place, we've developed hopefully a brand and a logo. Maybe that's something you want to do later, but that's all been done. You've established yourself, you've written your terms and conditions, you've got your web hosting, or you've set up your Shopify store, you've installed everything. Maybe you have a web developer, maybe you don't. Whatever the case is, right? You've got something online which works. You've tested it. It's connected up to the credit card or PayPal systems or whatever payment methods you're using, and you're ready to go. Well, there's a couple of different ways that we can look at this. There is a vast amount of resources again on YouTube about promoting your e-commerce store, and I would suggest that you look up on Google or YouTube or wherever your preferred platform is, you check out, most importantly, what people are saying about your particular platform. So the way in which we market products might be the same, but there may be some unique value in, for example, if you have a Shopify store, that you look up how people are saying about promoting Shopify stores. And likewise, if you have a WooCommerce store, you might want to look up how people are promoting WooCommerce stores. Now, that may not matter for your product, but I think it's worth doing that because you may find some unique ideas or information that will help you in your process. Remember, there are thousands and millions of people who have done this before you. Okay, so the knowledge that's out there, if you find some really important key knowledge that you didn't know before, it's going to be hugely valuable. It may shape how you do things, right? So it's worth spending the time to research those general things, but also the specific things. Okay, so search is your friend. I know that didn't answer the question, right? But it's such a vast topic, there's so many aspects to it. Promoting your store is about getting in front of the people who will find your product valuable. I'm going to put together my thoughts here on some ideas to give you a bit of a starting point on this stuff, because there's so many options available. The one that we've found has worked really well for us is content marketing. So that is about writing quality, high value content for our target market and then distributing it to those people. I suppose another example of that is then converting that content, written content, into videos like this, and then publishing them on platforms like YouTube and Facebook. So it's worth considering that side of things, because if you invest in content, especially niche content that you want to get out there to the world, I think it's really important that you make sure that it is high quality and relevant. It is worth investing in that, I honestly think. And yes, maybe you don't have the budget to start with, maybe you write it yourself, maybe you engage someone where you have to check their English, for example. But I think that a well-researched article is of substantial value because it can be reused for many multiple different purposes in the promotion, whether it's in the content marketing or whether it's in something like Facebook ads or whatever. Part number 2 is advertising. So you've got Google AdWords, you've got Facebook ads. Facebook ads has become a big hot topic recently. The hot topic before used to be Google AdWords, and I think that there's less buzz around that now. So I think that Google AdWords can be really useful for you. It does take a fair amount of time to learn and figure out if you're going to do it yourself, because otherwise what you tend to do is just throw money everywhere. And people who are trying it out for the first time tend to do is they want to get to the top of the search results, and they end up paying the highest price possible for that ad when they didn't really need to do that if they had a better strategy. For Facebook ads, there's tons of information out there. You can, if you want to, learn it all yourself. You don't have to buy a course to learn all this stuff. There is heaps of Facebook groups about Facebook ads. There is heaps of YouTube videos about Facebook ads. And I think that there's a lot of trial and error in there. And a lot of people give up when they do the Facebook ads, but a lot of people don't give up. And then at the very last moment before they give up is sort of the classic story, they suddenly get a sale. And from there, they learn a whole bunch of things and make something of it. Not necessarily that they're going to make $1 million, but they make something of it, which is really fantastic. So advertising like that does allow you, if it's successful, to bring in a lot of traffic, and then you've just got to look at your conversion rates as well, because that's the next step. And so it is a learning process. There's a lot to that area. I suppose the experience that I've had with Facebook ads is things can get rejected, so you can't just post whatever you want. And that's where the experience and learning can be really valuable. Find out what other people are doing and learn from them. Ask around, because Facebook can sometimes be a one-way conversation. You can't post an ad, but then they don't tell you why you can't post it. So there's a lot of techniques and tricks around Facebook ads that is worth investing time to research, but it may not necessarily be the best method for you. Next area of promotion, I would say, is something like YouTube. You can establish a YouTube channel and start to tell people about your store, maybe some of the products, do some demonstrations, do some unboxing, create some buzz and excitement. And likewise, there's other social media platforms that you use video. You can use LinkedIn, you can use platforms like Instagram and Facebook for videos too. But if you are doing it yourself and not engaging an expert, there is a trial and error process again, and really doing some research and finding out what other people are doing. It seems to be a pretty common thread to what I'm saying, but it's true. I think it can add a lot of value to what you're doing. Another area where you can promote is through things like communities, like Facebook groups, that kind of thing, and forums that are interested in the kind of products. A lot of it's really on Facebook now. But then you do need to respect the rules as well, because there'll be limitations on how much you can post. There might be limitations on what you can post and whether you can post advertising and what time you can post advertising. So keep that in mind. Probably the final one that I'd throw in there, because there are so many options, is some sort of promotion or exchange with another business. So for example, you might sponsor a website or sponsor a Facebook group that is affiliated with what you want. So even though you're not allowed to post in that Facebook group about what you're doing, maybe they have some advertising options on their website, that kind of thing. Again, though, you do have to quantify it and think about and understand, are there enough serious potential buyers in this group to make it worth my time, right? Because you want to make your marketing dollars spread as far as possible and get the best results from early on, but then at the same time you don't necessarily know what's going to work best for you. I think it's not important to cover every single platform, every single aspect of promotion to start with. There's some trial and error there. A really good way to look at this is see what your competitors are doing. So if you've got your idea from a larger, more popular website that does a similar kind of thing, then it's worthwhile checking out how they do their promotion. A good way to do it is to visit their website and search for them on Facebook, and then you start to get those remarketing efforts where people are cross-promoting across different platforms. So that can be helpful, worth checking out, absolutely. So summing up all that kind of stuff, I think that the next area or topic I wanted to cover was about getting knowledge and advice for free. I've talked about it throughout this video, but it's true. You can get everything that you want for free online. You don't have to pay for a course. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to get it straight away or you're going to have one-on-one support, but it is definitely an avenue that you can look into because it doesn't cost you anything. You just need a computer or a phone or a tablet or an internet connection, and you can find pretty much anything that you need to know online. So sometimes websites will have paywalls because they have their own monetization strategy, and you have to pay to view the content, right? Or to pay to go on a training course. But it's not necessary. It may be easier for you to go on a course, and that's fine by all means. But just be aware that there are a lot of opportunistic people out there trying to make a lot of money out of courses, which may not help you at all to helping to achieve your objectives with your online business. However, there may be some really great providers out there which will be perfect for you and will help make your business a success, right? So it's worth considering that. But especially when you use promotional methods like SEO, which I haven't covered in this video, it definitely pays to get advice from people who are in the know, and often they'll provide their advice and knowledge for free because they have benefited from the community. So there's this cycle of support that is available, so long as you respect those people and thank them for their assistance, that will continue. I think that's really important. So as I was saying with SEO, it's an area which can be quite complex, but there's some key things you can do, and often there's a lot of people who are willing to provide free support or tips and advice to help you promote yourself with SEO. I think it's really important to note though that without an established business or brand recognition, you need to spend money on advertising to get quicker results. If you're just building up a brand from scratch and you're not going to be advertising, then it takes much longer to build that presence unless you have some amazing viral campaign on social media that works, right? Unfortunately, a lot of them don't. So you've got to think about that, most definitely. So definitely invest the time in looking up quality groups or niche support networks that can help you. It's worth spending the time to invest to find those in the first place, search for them, review them, see where the most activity is, see where the most advice and value is, and then put out your questions. I do respect those people who are providing free advice, though. As I said, if they're helping you, don't waste their time. Invest the time yourself, because you're not going to be successful if you don't have some sort of time investment. However, that can be supplemented by buying help. So you may find that you want to get a head start, and you may find you want to invest in some assistance online or elsewhere that can help you. Okay, so you can pay to get help. My experience always is that the businesses that don't have owners that want to make a personal time investment to be successful with their online business will usually not be successful. You can't buy everything, okay? Well, you can, but what I'm trying to say is that if you try and buy your way to success, you're, in my opinion, not going to have as much luck. There needs to be a time investment by you and your idea to make it successful, just like any business, online or offline, right? Bricks and mortar, down in a swamp, you need to have that investment from you, make it successful. And you can get help in strategic areas, but I wouldn't try and pay someone just to sort out the whole thing. And the other thing is as well, that the results that you get from that might be improved, but your return on investment will be much longer, because you've had to invest in other people to get your business off the ground. So it's something worth considering anyway. Well, I hope that was helpful. These are just some basic tips and ideas for your online business, either to get you started or to push you in the right direction. I know that I haven't gone into detail about any of the areas in this video, but I hope that it sends you in the right direction to start searching for people who can help, things that you can do, and actions that you can take to be successful with your online business. I wish you all the best of luck, and until next time, thanks for watching our channel. If you liked this video or found anything of value, I'd appreciate it, honestly, if you could subscribe. It really helps us and encourages us to create more content that we'd like to think is valuable for you. Thanks.